Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. It's a Wednesday. No, it's actually a Tuesday evening. And we are going to be rating your guys' Game Week 6 wildcard drafts. Obviously, if you want to get them sent in to me, at FPLTom_, we've already had a bunch sent in, so if you do want to be near the top of the list, make sure you are getting that sent in. Drop me a follow over on Twitter as well. Sometimes it doesn't quite pull through and it's a little bit funny, so make sure you're definitely following me on Twitter as well. So as well, when we do future videos like this, you will be able to get your team in nice and early. Of course, we've got some absolute legends in the chat as well. The Cat has said first will be a W stream as always, 100% agreed. Tom W has said woo. So has FPL Jack, and we've got one of our channel members in there as well. VJ, welcome, my friends. Welcome indeed. Like I said, make sure you're all getting your teams sent in over on my Twitter. Make sure you're also liking the stream, as it does push it out to more people, and that is what we are all about here. Of course, we do have a poll going around on Twitter as well. Are you wildcarding this week? Yes, no, unsure, and then 1000% yes, mega wildcard inbound. So yeah, get your questions in. Obviously, get your teams in as well over on Twitter, and we will get those reviewed throughout today's stream. We are trying to hit 9,000 subscribers by the next international break. It's a big ask, but I do believe we can potentially go and do it. So make sure you are obviously subscribing, liking, all that good stuff, because you guys are absolute legends as always. Anton's in the chat as well. I hope you're doing good, man. I am heading back to Sweden this weekend as well, so looking forward to that one. Looking forward to the stream as a wildcarder. Wonderful stuff. We've got plenty to go through in today's stream. Obviously helping people out. We've got predicted data coming up as well, and obviously talking about maybe is it worth wildcarding this week. As always, if you want to go and get your team rated by me, this is the place to go and do it over on Twitter. As you can see, we've had a boatload already sent in, so we'll start working our way through some of these in a little bit. But yeah, let's keep the questions going. Let's keep the likes flowing in as well, guys, because you guys are legends. Let's put it that way. You guys are pretty good. I can't complain about that. So yeah, first question we've had: do I put Saka, Haaland, and Salah in? As you can see, I wildcarded last week and I have gone for all three of them. I think it basically gives you the best captain every single week. They are some of the most consistent point scoring players as well this season. Between them, there's only been one blank, and that was from Mohamed Salah as well. Outside of that, they all have had attacking returns every single week. Now, I know Saka only got an assist, and you know some of his have been assists, but it's still point scoring at a very consistent level. With a great run of fixtures coming up, it is definitely possible, but of course you will have to make some sacrifices if that is going to be the case. So do just bear that in mind if you obviously do go down that route as well. In terms of this week, I know we're going to get a lot of people asking, should I wildcard? Should I be looking to do it? For me, I've kind of outlined this in a few videos this week. These are the reasons I would be looking to wildcard. Obviously, if you are a little bit unsure, we've got reacting to the fixture changes. So if you don't have a clear way of getting some players in, whether that's through transfers that you've built up, or you know anything like that in terms of these big fixture swings for Arsenal, City, Everton, Brentford, and then obviously moving away from Liverpool, Fulham and Newcastle and Brighton assets, then you know that's one reason to do it. Building that team value as well. Maybe if you're looking to wildcard in 7 or 8 as well, that obviously is a little bit of a problem, because you know, you might be priced out of some of the players you want. Maybe you want Brian Mbeumo in 7 or 8, and you're just not going to be able to get there. So, again, that's probably another reason to do it. And then negating early season mistakes. I was a big kind of in that category, to be honest. Last week when I wildcarded, there wasn't too much really going for my team. We didn't have Haaland. We'd lost a lot of value. It made sense to hit that wildcard button, and maybe your team is in the same situation, to be honest. Reese has said, hi Tom, should I do Robertson to Gabriel as a free transfer? I don't mind that, actually. I think that's a pretty good free transfer to be making. I would just be a little bit wary. Liverpool's clean sheet data is not too bad for the next 2. However, those Arsenal fixtures are looking sublime, but I would not expect Gabriel to be getting goals every single week. Although I'm a Liverpool fan, I do think Saka plus Haaland is the best route, especially as Diaz has been in great form. Yeah, Diaz has been in incredible form and maybe offers himself up as an alternative route into that Liverpool attack. I just think Salah will start to deliver, and I think he still will be one of the highest scoring players this season. Sancho a differential? Not for me, my friend. I'm not a big fan of that move for me personally. My team value going the wrong way. Yeah, mine was doing the same. Hopefully we can start to get it back, catch some price rises. We've got players that have good long-term fixtures, so hopefully we can start to move in that bracket. Eze out is also an absolutely fantastic kind of comment as well. And I think, you know, his data's there, but sometimes you have to look past people's datas and just go, where are the attacking returns? And I think Eze definitely fits into that category, to be honest. Where are the attacking returns for Eze, to be honest? Right, let's start reviewing some of your guys' teams then. Let's get cracking. We've got plenty to get through tonight. So like I said, if you do want to get your team reviewed by me, head over to my Twitter at FPLTom_. There is a link in the description. I'm sure one of the channel members will pop it in the chat as well, and we'll get round to reviewing some of your wildcards. So let's go back to the start. Here is the first one we had sent in from Anton. Big shout out to him, one of my long-time subscribers. He said, thoughts on this wildcard, Rare Gabriel. You know what, mate? I think this is really, really good. The only problem I probably would have is maybe somebody like Jared Bowen. I think for me personally, West Ham are in a little bit of a tricky situation at the moment. Like, I'm a big Jared Bowen fan, and anybody that's been around the channel for a long time knows that I absolutely love and adore Jared Bowen. But for me at the moment, yeah, I think West Ham are in a little bit of a muddle. The rest of the team, though, I'm a really big fan. I think with that Rodri injury, Lewis could be a great shout. So, yeah, I think maybe reconsider this Bowen one. Maybe just leave yourself a little bit of money in the bank, or maybe upgrade Konate to maybe a Robertson or a Trent. I feel that probably would be a better use of the money rather than Bowen, for me, in my personal opinion. Cool. FPL Copycat has sent theirs in as well. Let's take a look at this. Raya, Gabriel, Trent, Collins. Collins seems to be a very popular pick. Again, we will come to look at defensive data, and Brentford on those 11-5 models looking very, very juicy indeed. Saka and Buemo, Semenyo, Rogers, Haaland with the armband, Watkins, Wood. I like it. I do like it. I'm not a big fan of Romero. I think maybe I probably would prefer a Doji over Romero if I was going to spend that. Or you could very easily find an extra mil maybe in here to go and get Pedro Porro. I feel his attacking returns are just better, worth it than Romero. But still a very, very good wild card. Next up is going to be Danny Boy. Again, been around the channel for a while, so I appreciate your support, my friend. He's got Pickford, double Liverpool defence. Now, that is an interesting one. I do think Liverpool is still going to be very fine defensively, but there's a lot of difficult fixtures coming up for them. We'll come on to talk about it with the projected goals models from 11-5. I like Son as a differential pick in here. I'm a big fan of that one. Fulkrug, no, I would be getting out. Triple West Ham with the form that they're in and the data that they're putting up so far this season as well. Probably a no. I like the Solanke pick. I think we're going to start to move away from Fulham and Smith Rowe over the next few weeks, so probably not one I would be suggesting. Same goes for Crystal Palace again. We're probably going to be moving away more to the Brentfords, the Evertons, the Cities, the Arsenals, and there is a big lack of Arsenal in this wild card for me. So yeah, that definitely needs some adjusting there. Next up, wildcarding in game week 7. Need to cut for 0.3 million to get this. Konate for Robertson. This is the thing, right? I think people are going to go for Konate, and that's perfectly acceptable because since him coming into the side, Liverpool have looked a lot better of a defence. But remember, there is Champions League football. There's Carabao Cup football. Kwanzaa will see some minutes over the next few. It is just going to happen because of the sheer amount of games that they've got coming up, and that might start to impact Konate. So just be wary. I still think he's a good pick for now, but longer term could see some potential minutes dropped. In terms of other players that you maybe could have a little bit of a fidget round with, you could maybe drop Chris Wood down to a DCL and Semenyo down to a Cliver or a Tavernier. That could potentially get you there. There's also, maybe if you didn't want to go for Collins, there is Rico Henry, who might miss this week but could be back in the next few weeks as well. There's also a 4 million Van der Beek. Someone will tell me in the chat. Brentford defender as well at 4 million. So that could be also another way into getting a cheaper one as well. Next up, which of these two do I prefer? I would probably say, ooh, I like that Palmer edition. Yeah, I'd probably go for 2. Yeah, I'd go for, ooh, no Saka in that one, but Saka for Palmer. Oh, no, Saka is in that one. Yeah, I'd probably go for 2. I prefer 2 out of that one, mate. That's a really good one. Hamza has said, please, your opinion. Thank you. No worries, mate. Let's take a look at this. Raya, Trent, Gabriel, Pinnock. Again, I like it. I think Mikolenko is a great shout at 4.3 million. Is back in training now as well, so should be a very, very viable option. So yeah, I like that as a pick. I do like that as a pick. Keep the questions coming in as well, guys. We will head back to the chat in a second. Obviously, if you do want your team rating by me, head over to my Twitter. Leave it under one of my most recent tweets, and we'll get that reviewed for you guys. Islam has said, pick one of the wildcard drafts. Oh, I like that. I like that. That's a strong one. I'd go one. I'm not a big fan of João Pedro, so yeah, I'd go number one. I think one's a better one, mate. Loving Fantasy Football said, any changes? No. Again, maybe Akanji's a bit of a rogue one, but City's defensive data is looking pretty juicy over the next few weeks, so could be a decent option. Nicholas Jackson, I think despite him having a great start to the season, the next 3 fixtures are actually quite difficult. Brighton have started the season well. Then they face Nottingham Forest, which is a green fixture. However, if we look at the expected goals conceded so far for Nottingham Forest, they currently sit 3rd. And this isn't just a 5-game week trend. It's since Nuno's come in. He has made them one of the best teams for that metric. Clean sheets have started going up as well. Then they face Liverpool away. So the next 3 on paper look great. However, I probably would be a little bit more sceptical of people like Jackson as well. Dora has sent me his team. Oh, I'm a big fan of this. I really like this. This is a great team. Obviously, Luis Diaz, he will see some rotation. There's no getting around it, but he started the season on fire and could be a nice, cheaper way to cover off Mohamed Salah. So you know what? I rate it. I do rate it. We'll do John's team and then we'll get into the chat, see what questions you guys have got for me, delve into some data, and of course get some more picks in as well. He said, use my wildcard in game week 5. Oh, it's a shame about the Maresca injury. Other than that, though, I think you're going to be fine. Like, you've got Semenyo to rotate with Vardy, so that's fine. You've got a back 3 at least. Obviously, you're probably going to have to go and pick up another 4 million defender to cover off that injury, but the rest of the team should be fine, and you've got a little bit of bench cover as well. So I don't think that's the worst in the world. I genuinely don't. That team is beyond cooked. It belongs to the streets. Absolutely love that. Why not Van den Berg? Yeah, he's also a great shout. I did say him. My only problem with him is he has been featuring when Brentford are playing a back 5, and they usually switch to a back 5 when they are playing the bigger teams. When they play against these lesser opponents, they pretty much play with a 4-3-3 system. So he might be one that does obviously make way for that 4-3-3 system. Rico Henry is a fantastic option. However, he has had a long-term injury out, so he might not be thrown straight in the deep end. Yeah, Flecken's not kept a clean sheet, and interestingly, you know, Brentford have been one of the worst teams for XGs conceded so far this season. But if we head over to the 11ify data that has been updated for this week, again, if you want to go and check that out, link in the description. It does have Brentford picking up decent clean sheet percentage chances here over the next few. 4th in terms of it, not too far behind Liverpool. Obviously, Arsenal and City, the 2 kind of standout defences over the next few weeks that I probably would be looking to target. I think Rico Lewis with that Rodri injury is an absolute easy pick. Then you've got Arsenal as well, 57% chance in both 6 and 7. So the likes of Gabriel, Saliba, Raya, all definitely very, very viable options. Everton as well, a team that have struggled, but they go on this absolutely mesmeric fixture run. They've also got Branthwaite back in training, and that is a big plus. I think that's what sometimes people have got to do. You've got to maybe switch away from some of the narratives that are already within FPL and kind of the game itself and think this team is bad because they have not won a game. Sometimes you have to switch away from that and look, right, okay, this projected data is suggesting this. You've also got to factor in that, you know, Everton are missing key players. Brentford have had some pretty difficult games to start the season as well. So factor all those things in. Like, is that going to continue? No. They've got a lot better fixtures. They've got some good players returning from injury, so they will start to pick up clean sheets. Same goes for Nottingham Forest, like we spoke about. Already started exceptionally well for that XG conceded model. And as we can see here, really, really good projected number over the next few. So for me, all those things tick to teams that I would be looking to target on a wild card, to be honest. So yeah, there's some of the teams I would be obviously looking at. Hey Paul, welcome to the chat. Do I replace Bowen with Diaz? I think that could be a bit more of a beneficial pick. I think Bowen just is struggling at the moment, and West Ham are also struggling, so it's not great, is it? Who do I bench between Mbuemo, Solanke, Rodgers, and Semenyo this week? I would probably say Rodgers. I'd probably say Rodgers. I think all the other players have bigger upsides than Rodgers does. I'm planning on game week 7, Luis Diaz to Bowen as a free transfer. West Ham's fixtures in the next few. I think they've got obviously Ipswich, which is the standout fixture, isn't it? Yeah, Ipswich. Then it's Tottenham and United. Then Nottingham Forest, who we've just spoke about as being a really good defence. Everton, who I think will start to pick up some clean sheets with Branthwaite back. So again, I'm just going off that West Ham run a little bit. I am going off it. Still top of your league, Tom, but with all my chips played, the hard work starts now. 1.7k overall. How do you think Rico Lewis minutes will be going forward? I think they'll be really good. Genuinely, I think they'll be really, really good going forward. I think with that Rodri injury, it means he's probably going to be playing as like the DM that floats a little bit forward. So yeah, I think he could be a good option going forward. I've captained Watkins 2 weeks in a row. Also have Duran alongside him. Great differential, but Haaland just doesn't stop scoring. Yeah, and obviously that is just going to continue as well. If we look to the projected goal data for the next 6 game weeks, as we can see here, City across the top of this are really, really fancy to go and bag some big, big scores. Obviously that game week 9, the big standout. I think that could be a week if you wanted to go for the triple captainship with Erling Haaland. It's looking really, really good. There is European football around that fixture though, so just be a little bit wary with that one. Unfortunately, you can't send me your team on Insta. It is only on Twitter. I just don't have Instagram logged in on this computer and don't really fancy going through my DMs or anything like that. So just on Twitter, or if you want to type it out in the chat, we'll also get it rated for you there as well. Make sure you are obviously, getting your questions in. Obviously using the poll as well. My internet has decided it just wants to die on my laptop. Always good, always helpful, that one. But yeah, make sure you're getting your questions in and we will get back to reviewing some more of your guys' teams. In terms of scores kicking around, obviously there's some Carabao football tonight. And Cuckoo's got himself a brace against Barrow. A very, very rotated Chelsea lineup, to be honest. And City are 1-0 up with a Jeremy Doku goal against Watford. Interestingly, Rico Lewis is playing in that game. Foden playing as the 9, so Haaland with a break and a rest. But yeah, some interesting fixtures so far, and I'll keep you abreast of those as we progress. But let's get back to rating some more of your guys' wildcard teams. Like I said, make sure if you do want your team rating, you are following me on Twitter, you are getting it sent in, and we will go and review as many as we possibly can. Next up, M-RY, they've got their team and they've sent it in. Like the Mikalenko as the data we just went through. I like Lewis as a pick. Again, my problem would be with Jackson. I probably would say I would prefer Dominic Solanke over Jackson. We spoke about Brighton's great start to the season, Nottingham Forest with their good projected data, and of course, their XG conceded so far this season. So for me, I would probably prefer going for Solanke over Jackson. Louis said, please rate my team as well. Again, I probably would start to look to move away from people like Robinson. There is a big drop-off. Like I said, we want to be starting to shift towards Brentford, Everton. Now, I know they've not had the greatest start to the season, but we've got to look at future projected data and future runs rather than just looking at what teams have done well and which players have done quite well so far this season. Fulham as well have still been quite leaky. Conceding the odd goal. It is the assists that have definitely bumped his value up and his kind of ownership up as well, if you like. The rest of his team, though, I really like. Luis Diaz as a captain choice might be a bit dicey this week. I think for me, the obvious option still is going to be Erling Haaland. I did put a tweet out earlier saying that I think out of the 4 kind of projected points models, that's Fantasy Football Fix, Hub, Drafthound, and FPL.team, all have Haaland as the top. Bar, I think, FPL team who have Saka. The rest of them, very, very much so, all pro Haaland as well. Let's have a look if there is any that I have missed. Like I said, if you want to just leave your team under this tweet right here, and we will get round to reviewing as many as we can in today's team. If I don't get round to your team, there is a link to Fantasy Football Hub in the description where you can get your team rated for free completely by AI as well. I'm just having a quick look, making sure there isn't any I've missed. Here's one. FPL Jack, who I know is in the chat kicking about. He's got Raya, Fabianski, Gabriel, Conze. Yeah, again, I really like this team. I think Luis Diaz is going to be that cheaper way into the Liverpool attack if we do want it. I would just be saying, though, I still feel like Salah is the 90-minute man. And I think Diaz will see some rotation. I just do. I just can't see past it. I think they're trying to get Gakpo up to speed, and it's not quite happened yet. But I think once he starts kicking into gear, they've also got Darwin starting to feature, get his fitness up, lots of European football, lots of cup competitions coming up as well, so we will see some rotation. Next team up, yeah, I mean, Stewart's going to be there, so Diblin will have to feature in some of the games where like Greaves has a difficult game, or Rodgers and stuff like that. I do really like this team, and it is absolutely stacked with talent, but I do think maybe you are just going a little bit. There's going to be an area where you're probably going to be a little bit light, and maybe you're going to have to play Diblin. Now, I know he's been exceptional over these starting 2 games, but whether or not he continues to keep his place when the calendar starts to get a little bit busy, going to be a problem. Stewart isn't really playing as well, so you've already got one dud position, and I wouldn't want to be left in a situation where my bench consisted of Diblin and Greaves in terms of rotation. So I maybe would look at it and maybe just downgrade. Maybe take a Robertson out, maybe go Konate and maybe upgrade this Diblin spot or this Greaves spot a little bit. Maybe spread the funds around, or maybe get yourself a cheaper forward in there that keeps your bench active as well, because this wildcard does have to last you for a long period, and you don't really want to be burning transfers on kind of lesser bench players. For me, that's something that I wouldn't want to be looking to do. Next up is Paul's team. You know what, Paul? I really like this. Barnes is an interesting pick, and João Pedro as well. I think both of these teams, their good fixture runs have obviously tailed away, and I would starting to be looked to offload these players. Newcastle's is City, Everton, Brighton, Chelsea, and Arsenal as the next 5. Now, the Everton fixture so far would pose to be a decent one. Everybody outside of that, really not it. So yeah, Barnes for me a remove, and João Pedro as well would be 2 players I would not be considering on a wild card. Thinking of a bench boost this week. Let's take a look at the bench. Welbeck, Collins, Keane. Keane might not play. They've got Branthwaite back in training, so I would imagine it would be Keane and Tarkowski as the back 2. I think even if Keane's been pretty poor, so maybe need to reconsider that position. Maybe go for a Greaves. But yeah, I think there might be better weeks to go for a bench boost as well, to be honest. Better weeks, double game weeks further down the season as well are probably going to be more suited, if you like, to a bench boost. Do keep your teams coming in, guys. Like I said, if you want to send me a team over on Twitter, we will get it reviewed. Help you guys out as well. Keep the questions coming in as well. Rate my wildcard team, please. Yeah, like I said, I do have a little bit of a gripe with João Pedro at the moment. There's also been pictures of him with crutches behind his television, so do just be wary of that one. Again, same problem. I would not be including João Pedro for me on a wild card. Carlos injured in the warm-up tonight, so Konza likely to play centre-back. This is the beauty of Konza, though. He can play right-back, he can play centre-back. He is one of the first names on that team sheet for Aston Villa, so that's what gives him his appeal. And we never really owned him for the attacking returns anyway. That was a bonus at the weekend, getting a goal out of him. Hey Tom, do you think the United defence has gone under the radar this season? I think they've massively improved with the new signings, got 3 clean sheets so far. This is the thing, right? I am going to be starting to look at United assets over the next few weeks. It is around game week 8 where their fixtures do turn. And as we can see here, there is starting to be a bit of a kind of trajectory of kind of forward momentum in terms of those projected numbers. Their XG conceded still been a bit iffy, but I think around game week 8, again, these players will have had more chance to kind of get themselves settled, play together. So I do think around game week 8, I am going to start to be looking at the likes of Garnacho, Bruno, Martinez, Dalot, who has been a bonus point magnet. So yeah, could be a really, really good shout to get in early on this game week 6 wildcard. Manesh, if you want to just send it me again, mate, and just make sure you are following me. Like I said, it does sometimes not pull through when people kind of send them through. Greaves, Vanderberg, Konza, Saka, Salah, Rogers, Semina, DCL, Wood, Haaland. What do you think? Yeah, I really like that team. I do genuinely really like that team. I think you've kind of got all the bases covered. You've got decent captaincy options. You've got players that could go and do really well. Van der Ven, again, Spurs defensively. I'm probably again would be more around game week 8 that I'd want to pick these players up. So yeah, cool. We'll go and check it out, mate. We'll go and see if it has pulled through. If not, I don't know what we're gonna do. You'll just have to type it out in the chat if it doesn't work out, mate. B-Wall has sent me his or her team, and they've said thoughts on it. Mazwari could be a really good, decent shout. I think I would rather go for Greaves over O'Shea, just purely down to the fact that Greaves has a little bit of threat from set pieces. So if you do need him off the bench, or of course to come into the side, he's a great option. Having two 4.5 million... No, I think the problem is you probably spent a bit too much and you've not really got the budget to kind of accommodate for Haaland, Salah and Saka, because 4 million defenders isn't great, and then you're going to have Winks and this other guy, so you're going to end up having to play either a 4 million defender or Winks. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think, you know, either kind of downgrade one of these, probably not Haaland because he's going to be probably one of the best captains over the next few weeks. But yeah, that's probably where I would go with that. Next up, Raya, Trent, Dalot, Gabriel. I like Dalot, like I said. He could be a really, really good shout going forward. Yeah, really good team, really good team. Ahmed could see some rotation, but 5 million, he could be worth a punt on a wild card. Let's just put it like that. Right, let's have a check, see if there's any more that have kind of been hidden away in the old hidden replies. There might be a few down here somewhere. Here we go. Varane, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, mate. Hey, Tom, rate my team. Thanks. Oh, he's put mate as well. I appreciate that. Raya Areola. For me, personally, I would get rid of Areola. I think you've got Raya, and I would just play him rain or shine. He's already proven how many saves he can make, and he's an absolute gem at doing it. Also, really good clean sheet data. I don't see a fixture, like even the City game, he managed to come away with 10 saves in that game. I don't see a fixture where Areola's going to play, so you're basically just wasting 0.5 million. That would give you 1.1 million. Digne as well is going to be a rotation risk. I've been saying it. He's a troll. He came off at half-time. Matheson will start to see better minutes. So, yeah, you'd have then in the bank 1.6 million. That could then give you a playing striker. Could upgrade your defence a little bit more as well. Like I said, get a better defender in here. So, yeah, I think that's the way I'd probably go with it. So, yeah, get rid of Areola. Use that money elsewhere. Get yourself a 4 million goalkeeper. Upgrade Stewart. Or keep the money in the bank and see how the next few weeks play out. That's something you could also do as well. Jay has said, rate the wild card. Transfer suggestions, maybe. I like Mikolenko at 4.3. I think he could be a shout. Cavallero and Sharda. I took a gamble on Sharda. Again, Cavallero, they both fit into that same category where I think because they've not played decent minutes, they will just be kind of rotating in and out of the squad with each other. And if we do catch the fixture right, great. They both look pretty decent, but it is a gamble. It is a gamble, so I'm just going to warn you on that. Other than that, though, I really like this team. Yeah, it's quite similar to mine, so obviously can't really gripe at that. Next up, again, a lot of people jumping on the Luis Diaz. Like I said, I do think there will be some rotation, so do just be wary of that. However, he has started the season exceptionally well, so you do have to back it. Keane, like we said, Branthwaite is back in training, so I will expect him to not be featuring in the squad. So go pick yourself up a Greaves. Best 4 million defender. Jackson as well. I've kind of outlined my queries with him, but I understand why people are going for him. 6 goal involvement so far. Decent data to go with it. So it does make sense. It does make sense. Luis has got Raya, Aina, Konza. Just having a quick check of the scores. Who's got injured? Oh, what a player. I'm just checking the scores for EFL Fantasy tonight, and one of my players has gone off injured. You'll love to see it. Yeah, again, João Pedro for me is the problem with this side. And as you can see, you've not really got too much in terms of bench depth. All these players play, but I wouldn't really feel comfortable having to start one of them as well. So yeah. And then finally, we'll get back to answering some questions in the chat in a second. Flecken, Konate, Konza, Gabriel, and Buemo. McNeil's a player that, yeah, definitely catching the radar. But again, how long is that going to continue? But he is up there for chances created. Yeah, again, I think this is a really fine team. No problems with that. I think that could be a great team to go into a wild card with. Flecken, Gabriel. Yeah. Hi Tom, can you give me some 4.5 million defenders to consider? Collins from Brentford, I think Aina or what's the other guy? Murillo from Nottingham Forest could also be really decent shouts. You've got Mikolenko at 4.3 who could be a great shout as well. Rico Henry is coming back into that starting squad at some point over the next few weeks. So again, maybe one to further consider down the line. I like Martinez as an option from game week 8 onwards. The Spurs defence as well are also interesting around that price point. So you do have Van der Veen. So there is quite a few options to be obviously going and considering as well. Madueke is an avoid for me. Like I said, I just don't fancy Chelsea over that next 3. And Madueke, when I watch him, he hurts my head a lot. He hurts my head a lot. VJ's got the right idea. Make sure you are liking today's stream, guys. Massively appreciate everybody that is here. Get your comments in, get your questions in as well. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button as well, as we are trying to hit 9,000 subscribers before the next international break. Yeah, I don't mind Robertson over Trent. I do think, though, that there will be one week where an early substitution happens. Like, it will just happen. You know, Robertson won't play like full 90s every single week, and he has seen some early substitutions. Do you like Savio? I actually really like him. He looks like a bit like a Mahrez regen. I also think Gundogan could be a pick that does start to explode over the next few weeks. He's not really putting up the data, but when you watch the games for City, both the Champions League and the Premier League games recently, he's just in the right areas. He's getting in the right areas, and it's like, I've seen you do this a couple seasons ago, and I know exactly what can happen. I'm a big fan of it. Sancho is not a pick I probably would be going for. Yeah, 100%. Branthwaite being back, the 11FI data as well, a good fixture run. We will start to see some Everton ones. Diaz is killing me, so I took him out Salah because I didn't have him, and he outscored Salah. Oh. Then he gets benched in UCL Fantasy. Yeah, that was bad for anyone that went for it. What do you think about Vardy on a wild card? It's an interesting one because this week he's going to be benched. They do have Odsonne Edouard, who can obviously play up front and could start to cause a few issues for him. So, yeah. When is the best time to free hit? Probably going to be in a double game week to get as many like high quality players in there that maybe don't have good fixture runs. Kudus or Sancho? Neither. There are plenty of better options than both of those guys. Sent mine in again. Cool, we'll go and check it out. Like I said, sometimes they don't just pull through, and if that is the case, you might just have to type it out in the chat. Do you think a bench boost is an option? Again, I would prefer it to... in a double game week rather than a single game week. However, if your bench is absolutely stacked, why not? We don't know what this mystery chip is yet, and that could be very beneficial in a double game week. So it might make sense to use it now. It genuinely might. All Peterborough scored. Is it Poku? Is it Poku? It's Poku, baby! Oh, my captain absolutely cooking this week in EFL Fantasy. Big fan of him. Wildcarded last game week, but now doing Eze plus Salah plus Vardy to Solanke, Diaz and Saka. I do like all those moves you suggested there. Verbergen, Robertson, Konate, Gabriel, Palmer, Saka, Salah, Bernardo, Watkins, Duran, Pedro. What do you think? Duran won't keep scoring off the bench. He just won't. It won't happen. It just won't happen. João Pedro, I've kind of dismissed already. There's pictures of him maybe being on crutches. I think those longer term fixtures as well aren't great, and there's probably better ones to go for. Poku says FPL Jack. Yes, big up. Absolute legend on the old EFL Fantasy. Probably going to save my week this week. Wildcard team, Raya, Turner, Porro. I like Garnacho. I really, really like Garnacho, and I hope he starts to see some decent minutes. Maddison or Solanke? Probably would go with Solanke. Right, let's start looking at some more teams that have obviously been sent in. Like I said, keep them coming, guys. We will stay live for a little bit longer while we've got, people sending their teams across as well and stuff like that. Let's have a look at this one. Again, Digne, I would not be including on a wild card with him being an early substitution at the weekend. Champions League football. Matheson, when he comes off the bench, looking really, really good and exciting as well. So yeah, that would probably be the only change I would make. Smith Rowe going forward and Robertson as well. The Fulham fixtures aren't there. When you're wildcarding, you need to be targeting teams that have these fixture swings, and unfortunately, both those guys don't. Maddison is a really interesting pick and has done exceptionally well in terms of those expected goal involvements, and has started the season really well and probably been an underrated pick so far this campaign. So yeah, could be decent with some okay fixtures coming up for Spurs. Top 1 mil, but we'll bring in Haaland soon. I mean, you probably want to start to bring him in. Like, I think he could be a captain this week. Then from 7 to 11, probably perma-captain during that period. I don't think there's worth looking at anybody else, really. Have this team, 500k. Haven't even wildcarded yet. Nice. Nice. This is what I mean. Like, we spoke about it at the start of the stream. Reasons to wildcard and reasons not to wildcard. And we obviously highlighted that, unless you can kind of get around with some of the transfers and target some of these big fixture swings coming up for sides, then you'll be fine. Obviously, going to need maybe another Arsenal player for this big fixture swing they've got, but yeah, that's probably the only one I would consider. Let's quickly have a check, see if there are any kind of lingering around, maybe in the hidden replies as well. Let's have a quick check for you guys. Like I said, make sure you're getting those teams sent in. Make sure you're getting your questions sent in as well. I don't think we did this one, but it's a really good team. Genuinely a really good team. Maybe double Ipswich is not the way to go. Maybe target a different defender, a different 4.5 in that spot. We've obviously spoke about Pinnock being potentially a good shout in there. I'm thinking of selling Watkins for Havertz or any other forwards to get me to Raya. I mean, Sanchez is fine. I wouldn't be like kind of ripping my team apart for a goalkeeper transfer. Rate my wildcard team. Thanks, mate. Again, Digne is probably the one. I think we've already done that one. And we haven't done this one, right? Gahey, probably a player I wouldn't be picking. The Palace defence has been a bit wobbly. Schmodix at 6 million is not worth it for me. Not really pulled up any trees so far this season. Smith Rowe, the Fulham fixtures are starting to tail away after Nottingham Forest, so probably worth getting rid of. And then, of course, Salah captain. I like it. I like it. João Pedro, though, probably another player I would be starting to get rid of. Yeah, I saw Helik off in the 18th minute. Absolutely heartbreaking, to be honest, him going off then. But Poku scoring a goal has pulled it back for us, so I can't complain about that one. Half-time in the Wigan-Stevenage game at 0-0. If that finishes 0-0, we are cooking. Let's just put it that way. But Poku captain, it's slapped. It has absolutely slapped, and we are up to, if I just quickly refresh it, if it gives it a refresh. Nope, okay. It's thinking about it. It is thinking about it. It has moved us up to 944. We're only 70 points off top, so a few more players. If we get this double clean sheet in, then we could be cooking. Need a couple more goals from other players and stuff like that. If Poku gets another one, we are cooking. Genuinely cooking. Wait, there's fantasy for EFL Cup? No, it's not for EFL Cup. It's for fantasy EFL, so League 1, League 2 Championship. Another goal for Peterborough, you say? Ho, we're back in the penalty. Ah. Yeah, it's a penalty, so he's not taking that one. But I do have Peterborough as one of my teams, so that's even more points. We are cooking. We are cooking. We are cooking. Who's more nailed, Collins or Pinnock? I would probably say I would rather have Pinnock. Brentford, historically throughout their stay in the Premier League and the way that they're data-driven, they always look for the small margins, and one of those margins is usually targeting set pieces. And the way they do that is Ethan Pinnock, Ben Mee, these players that just do go and pop up with set-piece goals. So there's where I probably would look in that regard for me, to be honest. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Like I said, keep the teams coming in as well. Obviously, like I said, we are trying to hit 9,000 subscribers by, of course, the next international break. So yeah, FPL Jack, let's go, Tom. Yeah. There might not be an EFL fantasy video this week. I'll try my best to get it out. However, I'm a little bit stretched for time. I need to get a team selection video done tomorrow. So hopefully I can get it done tomorrow evening with my other team selection video. Then I need to get a Champions League video done. I've got a stream with Jake. I've got a stream Friday for you guys as well. No deadline stream, unfortunately, this week as I am heading out to Sweden. So go and check that video out. It will be out on the second channel as we head to the Stockholm Derby. But yeah, there's plenty of content coming up on both channels. So definitely worth hitting that subscribe button. Do I do Porro to Harwood, Bellis, and Semeno to Mbuemo? That means I'll start a 4 million. No, I probably wouldn't do that because Harwood, Bellis has only come in at the moment while Jack Stevens has been suspended. Whether or not he's going to remain in that side longer term, probably not because he was benched before that suspension. So yeah, let's have a look if anybody else has sent me their teams in. It does look like we've had another one sent in. Need to remove Digne, Keane, and Martinez. Do I drop Salah to Saka at some point for the cash? Have 2.7 million in the bank. Yeah, that's probably what I would do then, mate. I think if I was to drop Salah, it would be around game week 8, game week 9 if I was to go without him. I think for the next two, though, Wolves and Palace, both have started the season abysmally. Both defences have been very, very leaky, and that Wolves defence has got a lot of injuries at the moment. So I would be maybe considering going for Mohamed Salah captain this week. And like I said, I did a tweet earlier discussing the... here it is, if you want to go and check it out for yourselves. So after comparing Draft Town, Fantasy Football Fix, Fantasy Football Hub, and FPL Review, who are kind of all the main projected points kind of websites, Haaland was the top on 3 of the 4 websites with a top one at 10. And then Salah was consistently in every single one second, which is it's unbelievable. Consistently being second across the board is outrageous. So he could be a decent captaincy option to go for this week. He really, really could. Henderson, Bentley, Trent, Gvardiol, Fast Johnson. Johnson doesn't play, so I probably would switch that to Greaves. Muniz, definitely get him out. Should I wildcard this week? Muniz, Jebson, yeah. Johnson doesn't play. Fast, Gvardiol. Blackpool 2-0 up. My God, what has happened to Huddersfield? They have absolutely stank it up for me this week. Genuinely stank it up. We need a big comeback. Blackpool could be a team, though, to look at next week. They've got some decent fixtures. So, yeah, they could be a decent one to look at for next week. But, yeah, I maybe would say I'd be looking to wildcard this. No Haaland could be a big problem. And Muniz being benched. Johnson not playing games either. So, yeah. I would be tempted. Maybe even not this week, maybe next week. But it's just something to consider. Something to consider going forward. Jesus, what has happened to Huddersfield? CJ Hamilton, he's fast down the wing. He's fast as lightning. Oh, he's frightening. Oh, it's CJ Hamilton. Absolute legend. Former Mansfield player, by the way. Raya/Turner. Yeah, like I said, I think you could go for Turner, but it's one of those, isn't it? Where it's like, a bit Yeah. I'm not too bothered. About it. It's a 4 million playing goalkeeper. I just think with his high percentage ownership, he might see a drop. In terms of players that could be dropping tonight, let's have a quick cheeky gander. See if there's anybody that could be potentially falling off a cliff for people. Points predictions, not that one. Price changes. Here we go. Maybe Luis Diaz could be going up tonight, so if you are looking at bringing him in, maybe worth a little bit of consideration. Rodri's flying down, but I imagine he's flagged. Muniz could be another one that could head down tonight as well, so do obviously keep tabs on that one. Sanchez, if you may be looking at him on the wild card, could be going up. Same with Dwight McNeil and Stewart, interestingly, as well. So, yeah. In terms of other players that could be going down, Alisson Becker obviously being sold. But yeah, nothing kind of for the next few days. I imagine this one's probably going to go up again. So again, he would be a player that I would be starting to look to get in. A lot of people selling off Mohamed Salah, which is surprising. I think he could go and do absolute bits over the next two, to be honest. So maybe not worth considering selling. Vardy or Wood? I would prefer Wood for me. Hey Tom, do we think Lewis will start this week? An FPL Tom clan for life. Love that from you, Andy, mate. Welcome back to the streams. And I think he could be a really good option. Genuinely a really good option. It's either going to be him or Stones that we'll be playing in that kind of Rodri role for the next few weeks. And I think with Walker maybe shit in bed a little bit in that derby, then yeah, we could be looking at it. Havertz and Maddison, or Solanke and Diaz, or Mbeumo and Havertz. Ooh. I like Mbeumo and Havertz. I really, really do. Yeah, I like Mbeumo and Havertz. That'd probably be my top one. Raya, Turner. Like it. I like it. Maybe I would be a little bit starting to move away from Brighton and Welbeck with them having some more difficult fixtures. Maybe a DCL could be a player to consider. When is the best time to free hit? Usually in a blank or in a double game week, which will happen in the latter stages of this season. He is playing, but I mean, City are kind of short on defenders at the moment. Hi Tom, I already used my wildcard. I have 2 free transfers, and the big question is, who should I sell, Salah or Palmer, to get Saka? Oh, big question that. Now, for me personally, I don't think the Chelsea fixtures are as good as people are suggesting. Brighton have had a great start. Forest are third for XG conceded, so I would probably say Palmer. But the consensus is probably going to say Salah within the chat. What about you, chat? What do you think? Salah or Palmer to sell to get Saka? Goalkeeper Raya or a 4.5? I think Raya's a nice, easier way to get into that Arsenal back line. So maybe if you are a bit tight for money, Raya could be the option. However, if you could go and get a Gabriel and a Saliba, then yeah, a 4.5, probably Flecken could be a decent one to go for. Sent mine in. I'm not sure what you think. I've put Barnes in instead of Rodgers. Yeah, I asked about the... I think we went through that one with the Barnes team, and I said no. Newcastle's fixtures, they're terrible. They're genuinely terrible, and they fall off a cliff. Do I do early transfers because I have Jota and Muniz? Liverpool play tomorrow, so I would hold off for tonight just to wait and see if Jota plays. If Jota doesn't play, he could be back within the starting 11 at the weekend. Is Van den Berg a good option? He could be. He is starting games, but that is when Brentford have been playing a back 5. I do think if they shift away from that back 5 and, you know, obviously head to a 4 at the back, they're going to have to drop one of the defenders, and he could be the one that makes way. People are suggesting Salah in the chat. I think it could be such a bad sell this week, man. It really, really could. Like I said, across all the predicted points models, he's second across the board for this week. That could be a really, really nasty sell. It really, really could. It depends who you fancy more, and if you're obviously going to captain Saka, then you know it is worth it. Up to 747th in the world now. So that's we're starting to move right in the back in the right direction. Another Poku goal, and we will be cooking. FPL Shane, how's it going, man? He says, morning, Tom. Tempted to keep Isak as a differential for the medium term. I'm kidding myself. Is he still a good asset? No, I think if we get the Newcastle fixtures up, let's get these up, because we've had a few questions about Newcastle players, and one was actually about Harvey Barnes. For me, I think this run is a difficult run, man. City at home, would not be expecting anything. Everton, I know they've been super bad, but they're going to get Branthwaite back, who will probably start that game, and I will start to see a better, more reluctant defence. Brighton have started the season exceptionally, so have Chelsea in that regard. Arsenal's going to be extremely difficult. Forest, who've seen great expected goals conceded so far this season. So there's not even one fixture in there, like maybe Everton, yeah, but not one fixture in there that I think's a give me, to be honest. It's not until like game week 12 where West Ham, Palace, yeah, so I would probably be looking to remove all Newcastle assets, and of course start to not really have any of them in my side, and definitely if I was on a wild card, not be having any of their players. It's just not a team, and that's unfortunately the way that FPL works. Is, you know, even though sometimes they'll do well, I'd rather kind of back the fixtures over the form. Salah and Semenyo and Havertz, or Saka, Diaz and Jackson. Ooh, I probably would lean more to... I just can't get over Salah, man. I do like both options. I think Jackson though is yeah a bit of a sticky one, so I probably would go for the Salah option. Who's my captain going to be this game week? Is currently on Erling Haaland. Out of all the teams that my captaincy potentials are facing, so Leicester, Wolves, and Newcastle. Newcastle have currently got the worst XG conceded so far out of all of those sides. Haaland across 3 of the predicted points models is the top captain, so that's the way we're leaning. But yeah, it could be very, very tight. And I think Haaland will still be the majority captain, though, for this week. So I think maybe play it a little bit safe. We've got Saka and Salah that could pick up points anyway. I would say maybe start to, longer term, look to remove people like Welbeck. But other than that, your team looks pretty decent. Salah, Jota, Muniz to Haaland, Semenyo and Mbeumo for a 4-point hit. I don't hate that, you know. I genuinely don't hate that. I don't hate that. Palmer will get the same kind of points as Saka every week. Stable point. Palmer is deeper, so less hauls. Salah gets the big hauls. He does. He does. But he's not been getting as many clear-cut opportunities, I feel, whereas like previous seasons he has been the man. Seems like Diaz is getting those at the moment. But I think teams will wise up to that and obviously change tactically, and that might lead to Salah getting more positions. Lost value on Isak, Jota, Kwanzaa this week. Hate not being on a wild card. Yeah, I feel for you, man. I do feel for you. Hey, Tom, should I play Deck, Wood, or Rodgers? Who the hell's Deck? Who's Deck? Oh, Declan Rice. Ooh. I feel your choice is probably going to be between benching one of Declan Rice or Rodgers. And I would probably say I'd be tempted to bench Declan Rice. I'm thinking of gambling with Salah, keeping him, but Saka transfers in are scary. They are indeed. They are indeed. Robertson or Gabriel? I probably would say Gabriel for the next 3. Should I play DCL? Oh, DCL. DCL. Ooh. I probably would go DCL and Wood just for their penalty appeal over Rodgers. That's for me. But benching Rodgers away at Ipswich could be carnage. I don't think Ray is a must-have. I think like you could definitely go for other options as well. Will I survive without Arsenal defenders? You're going to be praying that they concede every game. Because I think even just one's going to not even be enough at times this season. So, yeah. Scores across the Carabao. It is half-time. Chelsea are currently 3-0 up. Then we've got Manchester City with a 2-0. Rico Lewis getting himself an assist in that game as well. Foden playing as the 9, so could be a decent option. Walsall and Leicester both 0-0. I just need to make sure Jamie Vardy's not playing in that game. He isn't. It's Odsonne Edouard in a very, very much rotated side. I love to see it. In terms of Villa's lineup tonight, John Duran playing up front. Leon Bailey seeing decent minutes. Onana starting. Matteson at left back. So bodes well for the people that are potentially going to keep Digne for another week. But yeah, just be wary of that one. Is Muniz's price dropping? I haven't seen it. He wasn't flagged on the old player to drop. But he could be one that could drop over the next few weeks. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Keep those likes flying in as well. I'll have a quick check on Twitter. Make sure if we've seen anybody else's teams coming in. No other teams have been sent in. Like I said, if you do want your team reviewing before we finish up today, make sure you are heading over to my Twitter and getting your team sent in, and we'll get it reviewed for you. Would you go for Flecken and Trent or Raya and Robinson? Ooh, I would probably go for Raya and Robertson, sorry. And as you can see, that's what I've done. I'm a Tottenham fan, so I don't mind being without Arsenal defenders. Love that, mate. Is having a Liverpool attacker important? Not necessarily. The only thing I would say that would be leading me towards them is if we look at the projected goal numbers for the next few weeks, it's frightening, man. There's probably 4 teams here. I would say City are in the league of their own, as you can see with projected goals. But then there's kind of 3 teams clustered together. Arsenal, Liverpool and Spurs over the next 6 are all kind of jammed together. Outside of that game week 9 fixture, where obviously Liverpool face off against Arsenal, the projected goal numbers are terrific. So this is why I'm a little bit sceptical of people potentially selling off Mohamed Salah this week and, you know, maybe going without Diaz or, you know, stuff like that. So it is something to consider. But if you may be rotating them for one of the other guys, like a Saka or a Solanke or a Maddison, then maybe it could work out because these teams also have pretty good projected numbers as well. So yeah, just something to consider with that one. Hey Tom, can you rate this wildcard? Flecken. Keane's not going to play because Branthwaite's going to be back in the squad and he's back in training. So I would look for a different starting 4 million defender. Manchester United should be lower. I don't think they will. Those after game week 8, their fixture run really picks up. And that makes a lot of sense to me. So I would be saying around game week 8, maybe not on the wild card, but around game week 8, we want to be starting to look at Manchester United assets. Interestingly, Dallow's up there as well for points so far. But yeah, game week 8 is Brentford, West Ham, Chelsea, Leicester, Ipswich, Everton as a run. So definitely worth some consideration from around game week 8. Starting to jump on some Manchester United players as well. Playing some pretty terrible defences for XG conceded. Everton, Ipswich, Leicester, West Ham, all down there. Brentford as well, all down there in terms of XG conceded so far this season. So definitely worth some consideration for me. Thoughts on this team? Again, Emile Smith-Rowe and Fulham, the fixtures do start to tail away, so probably would be looking at other alternative midfielders. 2 free transfers, Henderson to Raya and Jota into Mbeumo. I like both of those moves. Is Diaz a good player to buy? I do think he will see some rotation, but he has just started well, and I can't see them dropping him. Again, though, Liverpool play tomorrow. See what lineup they go with. If Diaz is playing, then yeah. Bailey could be a good pick. If you notice FPL return, he's one of our 2 players. Watkins, Rogers, 3 best players attacking-wise, but he doesn't pick up an injury. Yeah, he could be a decent one. I think with a lot of people, though, already on like Rogers and Watkins, I don't think people are going to be necessarily looking at him. For me, personally, that's kind of the way I view it, as I don't think people are going to be looking at him. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Keep those questions coming in. Like I said, if you do want your team rating by me, head over to my Twitter and we will get it reviewed for you guys. Let's have a look if anybody else has sent their team in. They haven't. What are you doing, guys? What are you doing, eh? Get those teams sent in to me. Get those teams sent in to me. Come on. We need to get some more teams reviewed in today's stream. That's the aim. Get as many as we can reviewed. This is currently how my team is looking for this upcoming game week as well. I think maybe the doubt might be around Kevin Schade and whether or not we play Mikolenko. I am waiting to see press conference comments around that one. If it's looking like Schade should be getting the start, you know, some accounts are predicting him to obviously go and play, then I think, you know, we will go for him as he could be a decent option against a weak West Ham defence. However, Mikolenko and Branthwaite both being back in training could be a very saucy option. How do I send my team? If you want to leave it under one of my most recent posts on Twitter, make sure you're following me over on there. And then, yeah, just leave it under there. Yeah, that million difference, I think it's going to be tight, isn't it? If you're not on Twitter, just type it out in the chat and we can get it reviewed there for you, mate. Is a City defender worth consideration? Lewis? Yeah, I think Rico Lewis, for the price point he is. And now with that Rodri injury, has more chance to play more games. I know he's playing tonight, which does skew our perceptions a little bit. So, yeah, it does skew our perceptions a little bit. Keep those questions coming in, guys. Any questions that you do have, like I said, I think we've got a few people sending me their teams in as well. So we'll go over to Twitter in a second and take a look at those. Let me know when you have sent your teams in as well. Elias, how you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing good. He says, any thoughts on my team? Henderson, Flecken, Mikolenko, Saliba, Munoz, Fast, Konza, Saka and Mbeumo, ESR. ESR is probably a longer-term player I would be looking to remove just because the Fulham fixtures do start to fade away a little bit. But Munoz as well, Palace have been pretty weak and there's just better teams to be targeting. Again, go back a little bit in the stream or head over to 11ify and look at the projected clean sheets. Thomas has said, weak team you have here. Aina, Konza, Schade, Vardy, Mikolenko. Come on, man. What do you mean? Konza scored last week. Forrester second for XG conceded so far this season. So no wrong with those. He's playing Ipswich away. Why is that a problem? Mikolenko missed out on the last 2 games for illness. And projected data has them as one of the best teams for clean sheets over the next 6 game weeks, so that's fine. Sharda's a gamble. Vardy, again, a cheap gamble up front. There we go. Hi Tom, is it worth offloading Trent for a better third attacker or keeping with him in a 4.5 million attacker? I think we have to stop viewing Trent as a defender. The data he has put up this season is honestly outrageous. He is a midfielder or a cheap kind of forward with clean sheets. So yeah, that's how I'd view him, and that's how I'd kind of price him up, and I would prefer him over kind of say a cheap attacker over the long run. Cool, people have sent their teams over, so let's go and take a look on Twitter. Let's start off first with this one. Mazwari could be a decent pickup at 4.6, definitely so. Like I said, around game week 8, I would be looking to start targeting those United fixtures. Rest of the team looks really, really saucy, so no problems with that. Next up as well, Dunk, I probably would be looking to move away from. Brighton's fixtures really, really do tail off, and I'll get the expected clean sheet data up. Same goes for João Pedro. Just Brighton as a team as a whole, there's some really difficult fixtures coming up for them. So, again, would be starting to look to move away. And then finally, W or L. I think this is a W. I like it. I like it. Genuinely like that. In terms of that clean sheet data I was talking about, though, as you can see, Brighton have kind of fallen from being all the way up here all the way down to 19th. Aside from game week 9, where it's a 37% probability of a clean sheet, there is nothing above 20. So for me, probably worth kind of avoiding any Brighton assets. Same goes for their attacking data as well. I think they might be around, where are they? 11th. Again, not really any kind of standouts bar the game week 9 fixture, where it's pretty saucy. Where it is pretty saucy, isn't it? Palmer in, I'm mixed about Palmer, and I'm mixed about these Chelsea fixtures coming up. Cool, we'll go and check out some more. I can see more people are sending theirs in. Really appreciate it, guys. Rhea Kirkes, Gabriel Konza, Palmer, again, Porro and Veltman, probably not players. Again, looking at this data coming up for Brighton over the next few, I would be starting to look to move away from these sides. That's just my advice on that. But obviously you can take that or you can ignore me. It has gone to 4-0 for Chelsea. Pedro Neto getting himself involved in the goals as well. And Madueke picking up an assist for that one. So not a good afternoon for Barrow. So do we sell João Pedro? Yeah, I probably would start to be looking to sell João Pedro. The fixtures aren't there. The data's a little bit poor. I think for me, I would be starting to look at other attackers. I think unless, like, if I'm not on a wild card, I think he can kind of hop in and out of the side when I need him to, because he is on penalties. Brighton are still a pretty decent attack, but the fixtures aren't there for me. So yeah, if I was on a wild card, I wouldn't include him. I think you could go and get yourself a Chris Wood, a DCL with better upcoming fixtures. There's just more appeal for me in those ones. Cool, let's have a look what else has been sent in. Jesus, I can barely see this team. Liam, again, probably would move away from Robinson. I would put a playing 4 million defender in here. Oh, you've only got one free transfer. Okay. Probably going to be Jacob Murphy out, isn't it? You can move to somebody like Semenyo or a Tavernier as a 2-week punt. Kind of gives you a decent option in midfield. So yeah, that's probably what I'd recommend with that. Or a Dwight McNeil if you wanted to go for the double up in terms of Everton attackers. Or maybe a gamble on Cavallero or Kevin Sharda. But I think I probably would say Semenyo or Tavernier would be my suggestion there. Or Roll. Thoughts? I really like that. Genuinely really like that team. That's a strong team. No problems with that one. Andy, one of our moderators in the chat. Strong on the Southampton there, man. Strong on the Southampton. But I think you probably got the team maybe right. I guess we're going to have to wait and see on the João Pedro news, aren't we? We're really going to have to... We're really going to have to wait and see on that news around João Pedro, whether or not he's fit and available, aren't we? Eesh. Opinions on Manchester City midfielders? Yeah, I like Savinho and I like, potentially, Gundogan. And if, you know, think you can start to see decent minutes, Foden, then he'll definitely be an option. Cheers, Tom, and chat. Thanks for the review on my draft. Please like the stream. Cheers, Paul. Thank you very much for being a channel member as well. Massive shout out to you guys. If you do want to become a channel member, it does only cost 99p. It's very, very reasonable. You get some cool emojis. You get shout outs, and I do definitely remember you when you do hop in and out of the chat as well. So, Legend Paul, thank you very much for being a channel member as well. Massively appreciate that one, mate. Thoughts on my team, Rhea Fabianski. I like that. I do like that. That's decent. Beat this. Goalkeeper Edison. Oof. Rough, man. I mean, yeah, I get the Edison one, but like he doesn't offer what Raya offers, and this is my problem with the 5.5 million goalkeepers. Is Raya is at least making saves which contribute towards bonus and overall point scoring. Edison doesn't, and City just keeps seeming to score the petty goals every single week. I guess it gives you a nailed City attacker. I've been burnt by Edison in the past, and I think he'll burn you probably again. That's probably my only gripe with him. Oh, did I miss yours? Sorry, Gavin, mate. Sorry, mate. Apologies. I will have a check if it is there. It might have filtered through or might not have filtered through, but we'll have a check. Again, Van der Berg, probably going to be a player I would be a little bit skeptical of if they're playing if they're playing a 4-back. He might be the one that does obviously make way. Again, probably would start to move away from double Fulham. I don't really like Delap. I don't like Hall as a longer term option as well. Let's have a quick check, see if there's anybody else further down the list. Did that one. Let's have a look. See if it's in this bit here, maybe. I don't think we did this one. It's decent. Again, I'm not a big fan of Smith Rowe, as you can probably tell. I know he's had an exceptional start, but I do think Fulham will drop off. I couldn't see it, mate. I genuinely couldn't see it. So maybe just send it in again. Send it in again. I'll have another check. Orient just scored. I can hear it. I'm guessing you live nearby. That's a bit of a shame, to be honest. Oh, I'm a bit gutted by that. Doesn't look... Oh, there it is. Yeah, goal. I think. Yeah, goal, Orient. Oh, that's a real shame. I could have done with that Peterborough win. That's going to knock me down a little bit. That is definitely going to knock me down a bit. Hopefully this Wigan-Stevenage game can just be a nice stalemate 0-0. Huddersfield need to kick their arse into gear, and we definitely need some more points out of them. And hopefully a couple more Poku goals could get us back in the mixer, to be honest. Yeah, I get. Yeah. Man City fixtures do look really good. I get it. I do get it. I just have been burnt by him, to be honest. Send it over again, mate. Cool. We'll have another check for you, mate. And if it hasn't pulled through, then I do apologise, I guess. Who should I captain? Haaland, Salah, Saka, or Luis Diaz? I think it is probably between those front three. I think the majority of people are going to be going with Haaland this week. I really do. Yeah, it's EFL Fantasy. We make videos on it every week. We put out loads of tweets as well. It is genuinely a really good thing. It's come through, mate, so we'll get that sweet. But yeah, it is a really good game. It is enjoyable. I think it will definitely start to pick up next season. Their admin on social media is pretty crap. And I definitely think they've not really promoted the game as well as they could have done. This team, great. Only problem is Keane. Swap him out for a different 4 million defender and you are cooking. Mikey's team. Oh, that's good. Raul's an interesting one. I'm not a big fan of the Fulham fixtures. I get he's coming in and done exceptionally well. I think I would prefer a DCL in there, and I think this team would be cooking. Genuinely would be cooking. Left or right? Oh, that's good. That is good. That's going to take some topping on this right one. Solanke, Saka. Oh. I think I like the other one for just Trent, you know. I like the other one with Trent in. So right, yeah, I'd probably go right. Right, guys, I think we're going to call it there. We've been alive for about an hour and 10 minutes. Reviewing your guys' wildcards. There will be a few more streams this week. There'll be the one with me and Jake. We'll be talking through our teams and obviously stuff like that. Of course, there will be the deadline preview stream on Friday night as well. There will be a video going out tomorrow. There also will be my team selection tomorrow evening as well. There also will be fantasy EFL content. There'll be FPL content over the weekend. And of course, on the second channel, we are heading to the Stockholm Derby. So make sure you are going and checking out that channel as well. But yeah, massive thank you to everybody that's been in today's stream. Shout out to you guys. If I didn't get around to your team as well, please head over to Fantasy Football Hub. Their AI tool is free to use. Go and rate your team as well. So yeah, go and check it out. All good stuff. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and I will see you next time.